back to the LYINA podcast. This is Arti.
And this is Barsha speaking.
So, as our
Previous
episode, we talked about virginity, but we had two of our guy friends there, and we discussed about the whole topic and why it is so taboo. And on this session, we're going to be, as we suggested on our last episode, we're going to have two new guests, female guests, so it's going to be an all-female session today. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Okay, am I going first?
Whichever.
Right. Hi, everyone. This is Mina, and I believe I'm the oldest, although I act the youngest, I guess, in this group. I don't know what else to say. I mean, if we're talking about virginity, I might as just reveal my age.
I was thinking something different. Were you thinking what I was thinking?
No.
Oh shit! I think you're gonna be like, I'm Maxwell.
I was gonna say I'm not a virgin.
I'd be like, since we're talking about me, I'm gonna tell you when I lost my virginity.
Oh,
no, shit.
Not that soon. The juicy details come later. Juicy, literally.
Oh god.
But yeah, I am 32 right now. Do I say how many sexual partners I've had?
We'll get to that maybe later.
Oh, okay. Right, go for it.
Hi, I'm Meri. I'm 25 years old. I don't know if I'm the youngest or oldest or whatever in this group right now, but it's interesting that I've been called for this session. Yay.
So I guess the three of us here are 25 and just Didi, who is
a veteran.
So it's actually quite nice to have like that age gap, because like of course like everyone has different experiences depending on age as well. So yeah.
So should we just go on to how this conversation started?
Yeah, we'll do like a little brief again.
Yeah, because the listeners would have known by now, because obviously the previous episode. But for Didi and Meri, you guys don't know why this conversation is even here, okay?
Yes, I'm just gonna add as well, like they haven't heard the part 1 of this episode, so we are at the moment recording before they have actually heard that episode as well.
So long story short, basically where I work, there was 2 other guys in Nepali. There's so many Nepali kita, and there's 2 other guys, and then we were just doing our normal daily task, and then they were just going and I was just like, give one, okay, whatever. And then this one guy comes along and he goes, Dee, can we ask you a question, Bonin? Then I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then he goes, Iksimasotsu. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine, all right. And I think they were kind of like, oh, should we ask her, should we not? Like, I mean, she's the only open one. I mean, there was other girls as well, other Nepalese girls, but I think they felt more comfortable towards me asking what I'm about to say. And then and then the same guy comes along and he goes, and I could, before even the second time I was listening, before they even came, I heard them again like and I was like, okay. And then he goes, okay, Dee, I'm gonna ask you a question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but yeah, it's about sex. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, go ahead, I don't care. And then he goes, what did he say? He goes, is it important that your partner is a virgin, Baneke? And I was like, immediately, without even thinking, I was like, no. And then they were like, oh shit, okay. And I was like, oh shit, why did you say that to me? I was shocked at their reaction and they were shocked at mine. Okay? And then I think we discussed it. So why were you guys shocked? They were shocked at the fact that, number 1, my response. Number 2, because I didn't think it through. I just immediately said no. Okay? And then they were like asking me like, oh, why is it not important, Bonenda? And it turned out to a question, so they get like, why is it important for you guys?
Exactly.
What is this thing? Yeah, so, and then they were like, I mean, do you want to discuss it with us? Maybe this would make a good episode when again. And like, here we are, because previous episode, like Arati said, we kind of said,
we should have like a
female perspective and see what they would say when it and now we're here. Long story short.
Yeah,
I don't even know why it's such a discussion at this time of like anyway, because I'm not some kind of rich pedo who is so like hung up on virginity that I am actually paying for it. I don't understand. I mean, I guess people have their own choices and when they want to lose virginity or who they want to have sex with or what sexual experience they've got or their partner have got. But for me as well, I don't think it will be a difference, because whatever happened before me, that's my partner's personal life.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, sometimes the more experience, the better.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's what they say. Like, one of my friends was like, oh, now that you're single, I think you should date, because my type is like older men. He's like, oh, it's definitely older men. Don't go for younger men. And I was like, why? And he's like, at least when they're older, they've experienced enough. So you don't have to teach and learn. And I'm like, not complaining.
Exactly, but not necessarily though, because I've got friends who are in their 30s and they're like virgins.
Yeah, I agree on that as well.
Yeah, and it's, I think, as I said, it's completely up to a person's choice of when they are ready.
So yeah, the question really threw me off as well when Borsha came to us and she was like, you know, this what happened. I was like, what? Like I had like the same response. I was
Podcast
like,
about it.
Especially like younger guys as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, one of them is 25 and the other 25, 26, and the other is like very young, 21, 22, I think.
So there was a slight
age gap,
but
Yeah.
not so
I
much.
wonder where these thoughts came into their head, because I understand if we were back in Nepal, no, if we lived in a conservative country and society. Well, I mean, we do still live in conservative society within UK, but them having grown up in a Western culture, like virginity is even an issue.
But then they're growing up in a Western culture with an Asian family,
Yeah,
though.
true.
And that's their mindset. Like, they've been drilled in. Like, I don't know about your families, but a lot of families or friends or families that I've known, they're like, you're, because I'm gurung, if that even matters. But then they're like, you're gurung, so you can't marry istokalke people. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, I can date who I want to date, you know? Like,
Exactly.
at this point, you should be doing what not. Well, you should be, you know, like, I'm free to do what not neither. So
Yeah.
why am I limiting myself to that little tiny group that...
So, I mean, initially, I think at that time when they approached me, when I asked them that question as well, both of them were like, yeah, they were both on the same page. They're like, yeah, it's important for us. The girl needs to be like,
Really?
yeah. They were like proper ones. And the reason that
Whoa.
they both came together is because they were like, one of them was even saying, oh, and Zani, we want to do the podcast together just with each other. You know, but it's okay. Okay. So basically, we had originally planned to do a podcast at a certain date, and one wasn't available. Okay. And we are like, oh, how about you come along, like, to the other person that was available? We are like, okay, how about you come along and then we'll do it just with you? And he was like, nah, I need my friend, because we've got like same mentality. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was quite funny because by the time we rescheduled and the other guy came along, I think at that time, Ules गएर उसको साथीलाई सोधेछ क्या, because he was really curious, and then he had a slight change in mind.
Yeah.
So त्यो दिनमा आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ he was kind of like 50-50, whereas the other one was still like, nah, girls need to be virgin, which is still very interesting.
Okay.
Towards the end of the
I want to
convo as
understand
well.
the thought process behind like the importance that he's put on being a virgin. Like his partner has to be virgin, but is he a virgin himself though?
No.
That's what I was going to ask as well. So the audacity to Kim and said it. So he is like our definition of a rich pedo. It's just he's not a pedo
Or rich.
So man is just here raising standards for women, just based on that. Okay,
I mean, if
interesting.
his thought process came from like, I had a traumatic experience, so I want to make sure this virgin partner gets comfortable. Like, I want to make sure she's comfortable when she's losing her virginity for the first time. I want to best take care of her type goal, but I doubt that's the case.
I feel like it's just I want to pop it kind of person.
Pop what? Like,
You know the bubble wrap?
Hymen?
Bubble wrap.
oh my god.
It's like, let me count how many I've popped.
Oh god.
I think for him, I don't know the के भनेको थिएन. I think one of the main reason was the whole pride and ego thing. Theo and अर्को चाहिँ
Wrong.
kind of wanting to be the first one to, I guess, pop the cherry. And we did go on about how, like, you know, it's not just sexual intercourse that pops the hymen. Okay? There's many other reasons. And I think for him, he somewhat did have a traumatic experience when it came to like previous relationships, and I think that is where it came from. And then I think during the podcast, but at the time at work I did ask him, like, what if a girl has been with one partner in a very long time, and then they just broke up, and then she's now available, and then would you still think like, nah, I can't, or whatever? But he was kind of like, well, didn't you? But he kind of did like think, oh, maybe But yeah.
I
So
mean,
that was
did he say that he associates virginity with like a decency, with decency of a girl, or like what's this?
But then
So
who-
he wants to be like it's pride.
But then
I
who
mean,
are they to decide whether a girl is decent or not? Because counting the X number of people they've slept with.
yeah, but the thing is, what about the woman's pride though?
Exactly.
Like she would want to be somebody's first. Oh no, she would want to be somebody's first as well. Like I don't know. I don't understand this so
I
far.
I just hate the fact that you know how like multiple partners and legend, king,
Yeah.
man.
It's very acceptable, isn't it? Yeah.
Slut, whore, and then
Oh
oh
my
my god, prostitute, you
God.
can't be doing that. It's
We
just
have a
so
specific
stupid.
word for them, don't we? We have like we call them man whores. We're like, oh, you man whores. But I think I try and use slut as a unisexual word to describe people because slut you can be a man and be a slut in the slut भनेको women मात्रै हुनुपर्छ भन्ने छैन नि. And I really like यो चाहिँ मलाई सबभन्दा the thing that makes me a bit annoyed भनौँ न, not that much because तर it makes me a little annoyed is that how people associate pussy. Can I swear?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
People associate pussy as like somebody weak, and then somebody like a dick as a strong thing, whereas a pussy can fucking pull like then he push a fucking human kid out,
And he just want to dig in my brain.
That's the strongest part of a woman's body, and they've made it that word weak. Whereas a dick, like if you go for a man's balls, that's his weakest point. Whereas that is like, oh, man's got big balls.
Interesting.
Like,
It's just that's what I mean, like how the society drills in your head. So I feel like those bias that we talked about previously, like how we name shamed them, well not really named, but then just shamed like what they've come from. It could be just upbringing and then what everyone said, you're a man, Kage, just fed into them. Okay? So it's like it is their fault for not being educated on it and just following the trend, I suppose. And then just like carrying on with whatever people have been doing in the past years.
I mean, to live in a conservative society and have that drilled into you is a sort of like a conditioning your brain to think that. But having said that, we also grew up in the same society, and if we can think different, why can't they?
That's what I mean. Like we are going out of our way to educate ourselves and being more liberal and whatnot, but then they choose to be in that because I feel like that's feeding their ego, and they feel like they're bigging up and then doing this amazing thing of popping women's cherries and feel like a man.
I think they need to understand that the most important thing in life is to unlearn and relearn things once you find out that you could be wrong and that you have to be a bit more open-minded about things. And
It's hard to accept, sometimes some people just have tough time accepting things.
Yeah, definitely. People really have a hard time challenging themselves and getting out of their comfort zone as well. I mean, what percentage of people, like go out of their way and kind of research on something and actually learn about it,
Yeah.
So
I'm not expecting them to change their mind, but at least don't expect somebody else to live up to your condition of being a virgin.
Do you know what? The other question that I even asked them during that time at work was, where are you going to find a virgin girl in this day and age? Especially like about, it's very difficult, Nida. And then the answer that I got was, Tani, koje bane ta.
So what they're going for, like underage kids.
Oh.
The thing is, no, hang on a second. This is so funny, right? So I could be like going to them and lying that I'm a virgin. There's no fucking way or any medical examination that can determine whether you're a virgin or not. There is not a medical examination. Like they think if your hymen is intact, then you could be a virgin. I'm like, my hymen fucking broke when I was cycling. How does that did a cycle break my virginity? Like what the? Anybody could be lying to you.
And then they're like, when you have sex for the first time, you bleed. Like I did.
Exactly, I did as well.
What?
Yeah.
So you can technically lie to them, and they'll just believe you. The thing is, after that podcast, we did have a conversation again at work, and then I think one of the guys said to me, having intercourse with a virgin girl versus a non-virgin will feel different. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Because this is where I got like a bit pissed and I was like, Are you trying to say like people who have lost their virginity and have had partners are loose or what? And when it goes on, you can feel the difference.
So what I'm sorry, but so does that mean that if I give birth to a child now, my supposedly it's just gonna be as wide as the child's head, like it's gonna contract at one point.
This is where
the lack of knowledge comes in.
Exactly. This is where I can tell how much uneducated they are in terms of women issues or women reproductive organs, because first of all, sex ma loose, not loose, tight, not tight, depends on a lot of things, like how much the woman has lubrication down there, how much the woman is turned on, or how much what you call lubrication that you produced, or what kind of things you've used. Plus, have they heard of Kegel? Like Kegel muscles that you can actually exercise. It's like you're working out any other muscle of your body, and you can make it, well, I wouldn't say tighter, but I think that's that's just going on myths.
That's what I mean. There's just lack of they need to educate themselves on more on these things,
and they need to talk to people like us more to understand.
Maybe they're intimidated, like sometimes I feel like people won't approach to me talking about esto curado because they know like my opinion will be strong, and then it's just gonna hurt their pride damn straight away, okay? Because I've seen people be like, "Ooh, you're intimidating," and I'm like, "Bro, like, just talk to me like a normal person." Man.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of doubt because they're still young. I know, I guess I don't know much about their sexual experience, but whatever they have learned so far, by the sounds of it, it's not right. So, and as well, I think it doesn't have to be a Nepali open-minded person to be able to talk about sex, and you can talk to it about with your other girlfriends who are not from this culture, or who might not be as close-minded as other Nepali girls, I guess, would be.
Or even Didioru, like I feel like some of them have good advices and learning experiences, rather than just being like, "Oh, to get a little balls or all that type of, Why is this not like a normal basic conversation like bad kayo? Why is it not like that?
Because sex is just as sexual activity is just as part of your human body as it's just as a physical need as anything else, like eating, peeing, whatever.
Going on to that, like, do you guys still think it's very taboo to talk about like sex in our Nepali society?
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. I think so. Like, it is very like when you hear like about your mom's friends and whatnot, they're like, "Wait, you thought ekle boss is like she's moved out,
she's having sex,"
and then I'm like, it's cool. Obviously, I won't tell my mom like, "Yo, mom, I had sex today." That's a bit too much. But
Auntie, don't listen to this.
Yeah, mom, don't listen. But it's like, I think it's still taboo. Like, you kind of consider who's around you still. Like, I still do that. Like, sometimes I'm just like, like second thing like, oh, is someone gonna be offended by me? Not that I'm gonna be offended, but if they're going to be offended by me. I think
it's not that you don't mind talking about it, but considering the type of society that we have grown up in, we're like, it comes as a second nature to just be cautious about who you're speaking to, because not everybody is as open-minded as, I guess, Timur generation, you'll probably find a bit more open-minded people, but Meri generation
not.
Oh my god. I can't complete that sentence anymore. Like, you've just literally blown it out of the water.
It's gone out of proportion, guys.
You totally went a little Shanique on them, like, apparently not. Gosh.
So would you say like hearing obviously their responses and how they explain versus how we are, do you think going forward we're going to be more open-minded, like it's not going to be as taboo, or do you think because do that different?
I think growing up in the UK and in a more liberal society, I think there's definitely progress, but I would say even in Nepal there are so many that the younger generation is so open-minded about things, and there are already changes happening. Even Nepal ma, you'll probably find Nepal ma there are more open-minded ketas than the guys that you the guys that you had a podcast with.
Because like I partly lived my teenage life in Nepal, and I still have friends there who I'm very close with, and then we have conversations, like obviously during my last visit there, we'd have conversations with the guys, like the conversation we wouldn't even have with the guys here, because
Really?
yeah, it was very like open-minded. It's like, oh, this girl, like it was a one-nighter, is this the type of situation, and you're just like, because like the perception of people who living in the UK have is like Nepal Komanse are very conservative and older, but then they're living the city life as well, and then they're growing up, like they're trying to figure out and whatnot. So they're like, there are people with multiple partners there as well, and then they're not committed to it. So I don't understand how you can say Nepali people are isto, whereas they are more Nepali than you are, because they've technically not even lived outside. They've just lived in Nepal all their life, and they're so liberal. So it's just the mindset and how you train yourself.
That's quite interesting you say that, because I think we asked the same questions to the guys, and they said it depends on the location.
Yeah.
So people here would be a lot more open-minded, whereas people back in Nepal will be a little bit
Not
open-minded.
true.
So by
not
hearing
true.
that,
Yeah,
quite
it's not,
interesting.
because like I definitely think it's how you want to perceive and how you educate yourself, and you want to know, explore este kuraro, whereas obviously clearly
I think
I'm sorry.
this is going to
Enough
be
shade
a merry thing now throughout the whole podcast.
I'm quite triggered in a way, like someone of my age would kind of have that opinion, you know.
Do you know what I would love?
I'm-
For both of them to be here
Oh,
and then
God.
discuss, like, I would
Yeah.
actually love to hear that.
Look
And
out
see
for part
both
3.
Point,
Yeah.
point of views.
Yeah, I'm definitely not happy with what they've said, like fuck being politically correct. I'm definitely not happy with what they've said, or at least the explanation behind what their thought was. I mean, if they had a decent explanation that would say, oh, okay, to be fair, I'll give you that point, or I'll give you that benefit of doubt, I would love to hear from them as well. But from what I've heard so far about their reasoning behind their partner having to be a virgin, I don't think that makes sense in my book. And I've definitely got friends back in Nepal, like Keta friends or best friends, who are so much more open-minded than these guys are.
And even girls, like even
Yeah,
girlfriends,
yeah.
like they're out and about openly having multiple partners. That doesn't make them a slut. That doesn't make them a whore, or like whatnot. Like everyone's free to experience what they want in their life, you know.
Exactly.
One of the guys in the previous podcast basically said, all guys are virgin, eh? Whether they've done it or not,
Okay, yeah.
all guys are virgin. Okay, hold on.
Cut that sausage.
Hang on a
So
second. Wait.
that's the statement. A statement he made was like, no, all guys are virgins. So at that moment, me and Barsha were like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
It made us a bit confused, but at the same time, we were like, no, it can't be.
I think even the other guy was like, huh?
So what?
All
Have you
guys
guys
are-
ever heard of that saying before?
Today, and I'm gobsmacked.
Today,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like this guy was desperately trying to find an excuse to. I think this is just, oh, I need to get out of this situation. I'm fucked. Type Connie. That's why he just bluntly said that. Like, to be funny, like, it's not that guys after they have sex, like their dicks fall off and suddenly a new dick just emerges or regenerates in that
visual.
body. And the thing is, I think that guy needs to understand that virginity is not only about physical needs. Virginity is also like you can have virgins with different types of virgins. You can have virgins who have never touched somebody else, but also you can have virgins who have masturbated. Like virginity, you can't define virginity as
Penetration
penis
only.
in vagina type of thing. Virginity is all about your mental state or what kind of sexual things you had. Like some people could have, like, have kissed, have fondled, and not done, not penetrated.
Yeah, or just went up to like oral sex and
Exactly.
then just not went through in.
Virginity, the word itself is a very broad spectrum. Okay? Like, all guys are virgin. I'm like,
No, I'm just-
excuse me, you guys start faffing about like at like what, 13, 14?
When they don't
Average
even know
age?
what is
Yeah.
coming out. Having red dreams
Exactly.
and
Like,
whatnot.
how is that? Like, it's not making sense to me right now.
To give them to be like, I think we had this conversation afterwards, did we? It was either with you or maybe with him. And I was trying to really understand what he meant, but I think what he really was trying to say is the fact that physically because there is nothing popped.
Oh, yes, we talked about this
Yeah, and then we're
after.
like saying, but then again, pop the
Exactly.
So it's,
pop.
He is a bubble popper, I'm telling you. Like, he clearly only cares about like bubble popping.
Excuse me, he doesn't pop, but his skin goes back and forth and he's spit out numerous times. So I don't even know whether that counts as being a virgin anymore. And then, like, what is his dick sewn up at the top? Like, until he thinks, oh, I've got found my virgin. Let me take these stitches out and let me put it in. I'm like, what the fuck?
My man has a different layer of skin down there, and he's not virgin anymore.
It's like when you get a sealed product and you have like a seal on top of it, and you're like virgin seal, and then when he actually wants to do it, he's like, oh, I'll take this seal out. Now we can fuck. I'm like, oh.
Zip when not required.
Zip when not.
I'm very baffled by this person. I'm sorry, but why am I so invested in it? It makes my blood boil. It actually does.
Well, it doesn't make my blood boil because I have I've lived 32 years in this society and I've heard all kind of shit.
Yeah, it's very like annoying. Okay, like the statements. Okay, like to proudly like say it from a.
All guys are virgin. Like, has he not wanked ever? Like, has he not, like, I mean, if he has, then he knows what kind of pleasure you can get. So I don't think he's definitely a virgin or whatever. Like, that's
clearly it's different to women who've not virgin and virgins go pleasure. Right?
This just goes back to like a man can do anything and get away with it type of mentality.
Yeah. It is that mentality. What in type of? It is that mentality.
Like, does he not touch himself down there ever? Like, does
I
he
feel
not
like
get...
he would get offended if women touched themselves down there, you know? Like, considering how very, like, more cherry popcorn person, whatnot he's been saying and all these things that he's been saying are very, like, outdated. I feel like he'd be proper offended if someone would say, I'm a virgin, but I play with myself. Boy, like, you're getting...
And it was so, like, I think that day when I heard that question, and I was telling them guys again, because they were shocked at my answer, so I was like, can you ask her? Like, can you go ask her? I want to hear what her thought is. And they're like, nah, it's so awkward, nah, but then I had that question throughout my whole shift. I was thinking, like, why were they shocked? Or why were they shocked at my answer? Or why do they think like that, So immediately on that same day, and I think I asked you guys, so I asked Arati, Rosmita, the girls are it, and I asked my Unigo friends, and I asked like Didi, so everyone was like, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think for women, it's like a very general no, it doesn't matter.
Straight away, it was like, no, it doesn't matter, as long as the guy is not a fuckboy that goes around fucking everyone in the village, right? Yeah, so it got me thinking, and I was like, is it just all guys thing maybe? And then so I questioned my brother, and he was like, nah, it doesn't bother me. And that to me, I was like, wait, what?
It was like, more confusing.
Yeah, and then he's like in between, I guess, the youngest one and the 25-year-old is Grupa Santa, and he's in between. And he was like, nah, it doesn't really matter to me. And then he like, I don't think it's that important. I don't think my girl or whatever, future girlfriend.
I mean, where do you grow this type of breed? Like,
backyard?
Has this pandemic brought out a new farm somewhere?
Backward, yes.
I think like adding on to that, like as females, we already bear so much pressure from the society and from families, we never grew up in a like community where parents or families tell us, oh, when you marry a virgin man.
Yeah,
whereas you always get the opposite. When guys supposedly are going to get married, they're always told by the whole society, the woman that you're gonna marry has to be a virgin. Pure. And that to me is like, and I think this is also where all of these ideas gets instilled into like these individuals maybe.
I mean, that is so fucked up because like when I was in school, when I was like 16, 17, I used to know that people my age used to visit whorehouses or like young boys and it was quite cheap as well. I know of people who used to visit whorehouses or hire a prostitute and hire a hotel and all that.
And this was back in Nepal.
Yeah, this was in Nepal.
This was in Nepal.
Exactly. And that was when I was 16, 17 and that was ages ago. And to think that all men could, I mean, some men could be saving themselves for marriage, but I mean,
if you want to save yourself for marriage, like guy or girl, by all respect, like you do you or not. Like it's your choice. That's fine at the end of the day. But you can't be expecting the same back
from somebody else
because that's not your body. Number one, and number two, like what the hell? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. It all comes down to not your body, not your say,
Exactly.
isn't it? So,
Do you think like it's this kind of culture is still practiced like among like our society, like women having to like stay pure or like stay virgin for marriage?
Well, the bros earlier proved it, didn't they?
I'm telling you, this is like a special breed here, Sunny.
But I do agree. I think we still have that pressure of, because like what's the dosaima, and then like you have these festivals, and then like Koseko, like I don't know, whatever, they're like, oh konneketi leo, and I'm like, bro, like why are you just saying out there like konneketi, like what are you gonna not give me that paisa if I said I'm not kanya? What the hell?
I thought Kanya was unmarried.
Do you know
Kanya
the
is
literal
virgins, isn't it?
Kumar? The literal translation of kumari is virgin.
So you
I
need
was
to get rid
baffled
of
by
that.
that.
Excuse me. I think I've scammed a few people. Then when I've told the puja ma connected,
Not even that. You're Mina Kumari, bro. Double
is
whammy.
Kumari. Exactly. I'm sorry.
So you need to get that off.
Sorry,
you
love.
know?
My name has like sewn my hymen back into the
No, but it's absurd, how, because like the Kumari goddess, she's virgin, isn't it? So
Yeah.
she's like,
Where did that even come from? I actually don't know the history behind it.
it's a Newari culture.
You know,
It's a long
kumari,
story.
the
and when
they're
they're
like
very young.
young kids who always sit in like their puja kind of throne.
Yeah, but
there is a criteria.
You know, bro, I read the criteria. I was fucking
Oh
shocked.
my
Please tell us.
god.
I
So
don't know.
basically, like about Newari culture, kids basically. So they're sent into this dark room, and they have to deal with all these dead skulls in the room and have to survive it. But
For
then
how long?
I don't know, a night. But then the contenders को चाहिँ like हात खुट्टा यसमा के घाउ हुनुहुन्न के.
Not a
So she
single
needs to
scar.
be like
No
Pure
scars.
beauty.
Like it's the beauty marks there, but no, neither nothing.
nothing. So like pure form of like Lord whatever.
It's like Miss
percentage.
Nepal the cure.
That's the massive pageant right there.
I think apparently
my
like
God.
during that time or something like they have 32 or 36 उसहरू pass गर्नुपर्छ अरे के
Yeah.
त्यो उस गर्नको लागि.
And these kids are young as like 7, 6, right?
5, 6, yeah. And they're like homeschooled as well. A teacher comes to the house. I've visited like multiple like times. They switch over so they switch over before they're expected to get the period, because
So they're all
obviously after period
prepubescent.
they're unpure apparently. And then there's a thing about they can't get married later on.
Yeah.
Like Kupani.
What? Kumari?
Kumaris
No.
can't get married.
I didn't know that one.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Kumaris, because
can't.
there's documentaries
There's a
on
documentary.
YouTube about a Kumari's life after the Kumari period. So once you go there, I think there's something obshagun about marrying a Kumari. I think, and it's something along the lines of that.
That's
That's
devastating.
actually really sad. Like
Yeah.
this
It's
child,
so
5,
sad.
6-year-old, and the parents had decided to
Don't wanna, you know, apparently what they have to sit through, like के अरे त्यो अब मान्छेहरूले के त्यो सबै के अरे चिकनहरू एनिमलहरू काट्छ
गराउँछ
नि
नि, yeah.
त्यस्तो सबै काटेको नि
हेर्नुपर्छ।
हेर्नुपर्छ रे.
That's
They
so
can't squint. They
traumatizing.
can't squint. No.
And if they like हुन्छ नि get scared of it, then they're unfit to be a Kumari.
Wow. This is one of the criteria though.
That's
It
one
is
of the criteria.
And then when you go there, like I've visited multiple times because like my parents are quite religious, and then I've been there, and then I'll just look at her. Okay, like psychologically, you're looking at the person, and you're just like, yo, she's not happy. Like this is not one Kumari I met. I've met multiple ones, and then she's just there like, because and whatnot, and she's just like, can I be done with this already? Because she's young, she wants to play in it, not give blessings to people every day, all day, you know, like. You're 6, 7 years
torture.
old. You want to go outside, you want to play, you want to see your friends. But
You just want
then
to be
no.
a kid.
Yeah.
So, okay, how long do you guys think this tradition will continue then? I know, kati boards away ago.
It's
It's been there forever. I think.
I think that's what's keeping Kathmandu alive, not gonna lie. Like the reason why Kathmandu is because of the Newari culture, like that has a big part to play with it. So obviously it's gonna keep going on. It's the legacy. So you'll say I think it's not gonna go away anytime
agree.
soon.
Little bit of a lesson for you
History
all.
lesson, if no
And for
one.
me.
Yeah.
all stemmed from a little word.
Virginity.
Triggered.
Triggered.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh god. Anyway, I want to hear more about what these guys have said. Okay, like
Stay tuned.
because
I
like
thought
does
you
it
were
get
boiling,
more
bro, like-
ridiculous or does it like I feel like I've heard it all, but then I feel like there's something ridiculous that is around the corner there.
We'll let you guys decide when you get to hear it.
Yeah. Maybe you guys can come back on.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, going back to like the whole Lakshmi being the Lakshmi of the house or the Kumari. No, like when I was young as well, like I think I used to get quite offended by the term. Like, did you guys ever feel that way?
Like what term? Being called
like,
Lakshmi of
like
the house.
no, not Lakshmi, like Kumari, ani
Kanya,
Kanya,
yeah.
that type. Yeah, like you know,
yeah.
like especially about like Mirza said, like around festivals and occasions, like parents would always say, "Oh, Kanya kiti chahincha," and Kumari. I think when I was young as well, I couldn't understand the concept of after a certain age why you couldn't be a Kanya or a Kumari.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a bit confusing growing up. So I don't know, like, what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, like, I think I had the best situation because I was in Nepal until I was Kanya. So I fucking reaped all the benefits, got all the cash, and then I moved here. So Hamrata, usually we don't have, like, we haven't had religious puja or stuff like that for ages now. Like, as far as I can remember, as far as I've not been a Kanya. So I guess it hasn't affected me as much.
I think in mine, because obviously they practice it a lot, not that I follow, but I think I stopped being Kanya when I had my first period, because I think that's when I just stopped. But then that's different to like Orko, different family, because like I have this like different kind of background family from my background, and they consider Kanya until you're not married to someone. So I'm guessing they're associating marriage with virginity. So everyone has a different concept of Kanya. So mine was like I stopped being Kanya when I got my period, apparently.
To be honest,
Barsha probably doesn't even understand the concept
I
of
was
this.
going to say, this is actually my first time hearing that
Hearing
word
it,
because
yeah.
my parents have never used that word now. But the only thing that, like, तैले भन्दाखेरि के माइन्डमा आयो भने चाहिँ लाइक अभियसली फेस्टिभल अब दसैँ तिहारहरू आउँदाखेरि अर्कै पूजा पऱ्यो भने my mom used to ask me like तेरो यस्तो period was are you on a period? And I'll be like yes or no, and if yes भने चाहिँ I wouldn't be able to go near it.
Period is a whole different topic.
That always just like I would question because I had my period when I was 9, so I would question it from a young age like
That is I'm not young.
Bruh, I know 8 or 9.
Sis, you've been living through.
It's been over 10 years. Oh my god, it's almost 20 years. Anyways, but yeah, so I was standing with the done. You don't know about virginity and all that shit, but you're going through, your body's going through, you're bleeding out basically out of your vagina. And your mom's like, oh, you can't go naughty. And then I used to question myself, like, and I would ask my parents as well, and she would just be like, oh, it's just पहिला
That's the thing though, like when they say that, that's number one, that's like in a very subtle way they've already put us down. Our self-esteem down. They've made us feel inferior. Second of all, I have not heard anybody have a decent explanation about why it's practiced. It's always about पहिलेदेखि बाबुबाजेले गरेर आएको, but why?
Why?
How?
I asked,
why are you doing
no
it?
one can back
like
that up.
बाबुबाजेले गु खायो भन्दैमा हामी पनि गु खाँदै बस्ने हो त. Like हुन्छ नि,
I asked my grandma when I was in Nepal because of my recent visit, and then I had my period then, and she was like, "Oh, tika la la," which I'm fine. Like, if she doesn't want to put tika on my forehead, I don't care. And so I wanted to know why Nita, and I was like, "Why can't I put tika?" And then I was just like, "Why do we have to do this?" And then she said, like, apparently back in the day, we have this. There's like a thing called Kul Devta, so that's like your ancestors.
Okay,
So apparently, when this tune or like when a period bakomante touched the god's place or whatnot, something really bad happened this week, and I'm like, it could be coincidence, like that's my thought process. Like, it could just be coincidence, and like it's your placebo effect, like it made you think like, oh my little god and because if you're feeling that guilt like already, oh I touched it, then you could just jinx it, like
pretty much.
It can't just be like, oh my like top na or whatnot. And I was like, well, this is absurd.
So you know what, I think I was earlier when I said not decent, I think अरू कुरामा चाहिँ हैन, but period मा यो किचनमा जानु नहुने अनि period को पूजाको थानतिर जानु नहुनेको मैले एउटा decent reasoning सुनेको चाहिँ this was from my केटा friend है नेपालको चाहिँ, अनि he explained it to me and he said like it's actually पहिलाको जमानामा चाहिँ पाडहरु हुन्थेन र नि त, अनि because we as women used to handle kitchenहरु अनि like because we didn't have any pads, we used to leak all over. It was unhygienic.
Okay.
And plus, because our body was going through pain and bleeding out, period kitchenहरुतिर छुन नजाने पूजाहरु गर्न नपर्ने, that was actually a rest period for us, right?
Oh my god.
I've had that
was-
reasoning before as
That
well.
would
I've
make
had that.
100%
Yes, exactly.
more
That would
sense.
make more sense.
That's-
no? It was supposed to be a rest period. It wasn't like unnecessarily you should not go type ko, tara you should rest type ko bhante re ke पहिला चाहिँ हुन्छ नि. अनि I would be more acceptable about that. I'm like, bitch, you go do the dishes. I'm on my period. हुन्छ नि.
And then the mood swings as well. And that's the same thing about Tej. Like, you know how women, well, I'm totally against it, you know. But then the explanation I had about Tej was from my grandma. She said like the reason why they did Tej was to go, because like Tej ko barama sabajana maita jancha ni ta. So when you're like back in the days, like you're working so hard, so on the Tej you can go maita, so that's like your holiday getaway.
Celebration
So
that you've got a
she's
break.
like, I'm fucking getting away feeling hunte, so that's what she said. And they were every time there's these reasons that they will come here so you can eat, feast, and then you can fast.
I wonder
'Cause why
when
not type
I
of-
wonder when they turned it into fasting for husbands longevity type of
I think it's just the middleman who ruins everything. Like the period coupon.
they probably saw an opportunity as like, I can turn this around to benefit man type of
Yeah.
oh god, like oh.
But logically, it does make sense. The bitara, like they're working
Yeah.
so hard, I might as well go on a mini holiday.
In the middle, somebody turned it around to benefit them. Okay, it's just like a businessman using it, like exploiting an opportunity type. Go.
Yeah.
God, where did it all go wrong?
I'm pretty sure it's the bus fare man taking. Bus fare bada banaunu paryo. These lights are.
Maybe.
Oh my goodness.
Have you guys heard of the term virginity testing?
Huh?
Oh God!
What the
You
fuck's
know
even
what?
that?
That's such a like.
the fuck
As I
is
said
that?
earlier, I do.
Yeah,
there is
Mina and
no-
Meri touched on that earlier.
Yeah, there is no like they say. Oh, they go through this medical. There's not a single medical test. I'm pretty sure there's not a single medical test that can determine whether a person is a virgin or not. I'm like, what constitutes the virgin test? Like, what do they
mean,
check?
like, why is it even there?
I wanna know.
Like, why is
Exactly.
it even
You know,
a
and
word
it's
like
so-
that?
It's so अब like हुन्छ नि मान्छेलाई एकदम put down गर्छ कि, you know, even the term when I came across it I was like, what the hell? And apparently it still does happen in parts of the world, you know.
Yeah.
And
You know
I
who
was
got
shocked.
under fire for
yes.
testing someone's virginity, like a daughter's virginity? That rapper T.I. na?
Oh
no,
shit!
not
I heard
T.I.
about
There was this one, no, T.I. Okay, kya? Somebody, there's a rapper, like recent, okay, last year, wala. He came under fire for testing his 18-year-old
Yeah.
daughter's virginity.
Who
And
gave
this
him
is in
the
America.
This was last year. Rapper Ti.
T.I.
Who
exactly.
gave him the right to do that? Like, I'm sorry, it's your daughter, but that's her body.
She's
And she's
18.
and she's 18.
She's
No,
an adult.
regardless of how old she is, like, who gave him the right to do that? It's her body.
so I think since like 2018 WHO, the World Health Organization, they have been trying to eliminate this whole virginity testing, and they have like a whole statement and article about it. But
Well,
but
I was very
not
baffled.
put
by
it
What do
in
they
the first
check?
place.
Like,
exactly,
I'm
Jenny,
curious.
what do they check? How do
check?
they check? How do they decide? Jenny, like,
Yeah.
oh,
I mean, for example,
my
take
head
me,
hurts.
right? My hymen broke when I was cycling, like probably 8, 9, but I only got my period until 12, and I was virgin until what, like 16. Like, if they had taken me away 12 years of the heady, like, and they would have no idea if they were just going on hymen, like intact, my hymen being intact, they would have no idea. I could have lied, oh, I'm a virgin.
I think it's much more practiced in like third world countries.
This is absurd. Like, who even thought of this thing? Okay, like, I'm baffled.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just, I was
so
like,
baffled.
no
Probably
way.
somewhere out there, a businessman who
Businessman.
was trying to earn money out of like consider people's emotions.
Probably the man who invented the word kanya as well. नेपालमा त कन्या टेस्टिङ हुन्छ.
Testing. Before you go into that, virginity testing is often performed by inspecting the hymen for tears or its size of opening vena, and or by inserting fingers into the vagina, 2 fingers.
So what if they broke the
Yeah,
virginity?
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, like, compensate me, mate. You broke my virginity there.
I
like,
wouldn't
my
want to lose
precious
my virginity
$1 million
to a doctor.
virginity. I was planning on selling it to somebody.
Not to a doctor
hell?
put his finger.
Jesus.
Jesus.
And like Didi said, no scientific basis. Virginity testing has no scientific or clinical basis. There is no examination
Exactly.
that can prove a girl or woman has had sex. And also, the appearance of girls or the woman's vagina / hymen cannot even prove it. Okay, so it's just, that's stupid. This is actually my first time actually hearing it as well. So
Virginity texting. I didn't know people would do something
Yeah.
like. I didn't even know someone would create a facade
Scam that
test like that to
Someone's
earn
getting rich,
Yeah.
scamming people out there.
oh my
third
God.
world country. Damn,
Oh, man.
man, that's hard.
But having said that, America mata bio.
Like, I'm trying to think like what must be going through the girl who's doing the test with the makmake.
Oh my God.
That's just psychologically very traumatizing. You know?
I mean, why was it tested? Why?
I don't know who
like,
even created this shit.
If you
bro.
really care about your daughter, like you would get them tested for any diseases like STDs or whatever. Not that you would expect her to be Jenny shagging at that age, but
Clearly he didn't trust her either. So
Yeah.
like he had to go out of way. So that just proves his parenting as well then,
Do you
doesn't
think
it?
it's because like obviously it's the Quran, I feel like only third world won't no. Do you think it's a lot to do with society and that sort of area and saying, I need to prove it to them kind of thing. I need to carry out this test.
third world man, even America has like
yeah.
really cult societies like I don't know about like do Jews have to be virgin when they get married?
I think Jews could be different signs. So
It's like Christians as well, neither. Some
Yeah.
of them have to be neither.
Yeah.
So I think it's religion plays a big part to a
Yeah,
lot of people.
definitely.
I mean, I don't think it's like it's logical either. Like I said, like my friends back in Nepal have got like a lot of experiences and whatnot, and then whereas people here are still have backward thinking. So it just depends on what your mindset is like. So it doesn't really like the location and things don't really determine it on and on.
Maybe a little bit, but not to a great extent, I guess. Yeah. Gosh.
I feel sorry for Tia's daughter, like especially being public so what must she have gone through?
Like she's traumatized for life. Like, I would be traumatized for life.
I mean, that man has money to hire like the best doctors in the world, and he just fell for this fake virginity testing. Like, what is
Oh my God.
going through his head?
Money don't grow your brains. That's what it is.
Oh man, this is
Maybe he thought from down there. No sunshine, remember?
Yeah.
Besides, sorry, I'm just so invested in T.I. and his daughter in this situation. So the comment from the daughter, is that, where's it gone? Things are completely uncomfortable for me right now. She said during the interview, we're all together in this house, so I have to see my dad and be around him, and we're in a foreign country. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so the fact that obviously still living in the same household, having to see her dad, and then is very uncomfortable for her. And she says that she feels very shocked, hurt, angry, and very embarrassed.
Exactly. I mean, I would feel violated. I mean, like, this is going to be a bit of TMI, but I once went to the doctor and they had to do a PR exam. I don't know what you guys know PR exam. PR exam is basically up your butt finger halida examination. Get the doctor.
Ouch.
And when she did that, I felt so violated. And imagine somebody actually checking you at the front. Like,
You know this virginity test, whatever the TI did with his daughter. Would you guys feel differently about it if it was her mom doing it?
no.
Or would you guys still feel the same?
I would be even more angry.
Pissed,
Well, because this is a woman not understanding another woman.
Yeah, I agree on that as well. Yeah.
Like another gender already puts us down so much. And then you should be supporting your gender a bit more because it's not equal at the minute, and to make it equal you have to give that extra boost to your own gender.
Exactly.
And then it would be more maddening for me to
I agree.
find out if it was the mother.
Because I can imagine people would just go like, about I'm going to go to you like, you know. So I was just trying to get your views on it, and I agree on what you had to say. Definitely.
I mean, the embarrassment itself. And that's going to affect her emotionally as well.
That's
for
what I
a
mean.
while.
Like, she's traumatized. And what while, bro? If it was me, forever. Like, I went to do my virginity test with my dad, and it was public. Like, the whole world knew.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot to take in.
It is.
And I'm guessing it wasn't by her choice as well, I guess.
Yeah, I think it probably was
not.
forced. Just like any other virginity testing would be in any other third world country, but of course,
Exactly.
Imagine
Nobody,
like
America
nobody goes. Here, come test me. I
Yes.
will open my legs for you.
Imagine you go and get married to this person, right? And then they go like, "Oh, virginity test on us."
Oh my god! But I hear like it's
but it's
sad.
sad that that is actually the situation in so many countries.
Yeah, I know.
right?
Like,
It's
But to flip it around, I've heard so many cases where like women they go to the doctors to have it stitched up so so their partner, husbands, whatever, can pop it for the first time. Have you heard about that?
Like,
Stitching it. I don't know what they
but
do.
voluntarily or because they are
They want
afraid
to.
of the society.
Mixture.
if they want to, then it's their body, their whatever they want to do. I've got no judgment on that. But whoa,
Like,
women do that?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
heard
understand
about
the
it.
pleasure behind a man popping your vagina.
No, I'm not even imagining that. I'm imagining stitches, and then that is
going
God,
through
the
that
healing
pain.
process.
Yeah.
Not the pain, the healing process. Oh my god!
Imagine you're peeing, and then it's just like, how would you pee?
I like your period stuff.
The burn.
Doing this. Oh.
Oh no.
Okay, let's not
And
go.
no, and then when you actually have sex with your husband, well, for the first time or the fifth time or whatever, and then it actually like you're asking him to break a part of your
Too
skin.
much. I
I can't deal with that.
I can't hear this anymore. It's getting goosebumps.
So this two question we asked the guys as well towards the end of the podcast, and we wanted to ask you guys as well.
oh yes.
Have you ever received the talk from your parents?
Not from my parents, but I know my friend who is like probably 2 years younger than me, her mom and dad, who are like not that young from you're not that younger than my mom and dad, they've had the talk with her, and that was like, yeah, you can see that generation, they have completely different opinions. And in my mom and dad versus her mom and dad, they had completely different opinion about it, and they had completely different comfort level to talk to their daughters about having sex and having
Wow.
practicing safe sex. And like her husband is French, so yeah. And they've got a little cute baby now.
That's cute.
And as soon as they found out that she's good, like, has a boyfriend, like they had the talk with her, and that was very, I would say, very respectable in my eye for a person from that generation who was brought up in Hamro kind of culture. And it was quite, like, I would say, I would give him a round of applause. I would give him a round of applause for, like, if he did that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But not from my parents. I don't think, like, I mean, Nepalese parents don't even talk about a lot of issues, like emotional issues, let alone sex.
Yeah.
I'm like,
My mom has like not really, well, dad, some of us we don't really talk, we have the emotional barrier like every other dad, but my mom has kind of said it like don't get pregnant if you can't raise the child kind of situation. So I think that was kind of like practice safe sex.
Yeah.
So I took it that way, but obviously it's your perception how you want to take it. But she was
that's
like,
a fair ask.
yeah, she's like, don't get pregnant if you can't take care of a child. So obviously the rest is just whatever left up to imagination, I guess. But she hasn't said like you shouldn't have sex or you shouldn't be a virgin. It's not a gay bond or whatever.
Yeah, she definitely made it clear that she doesn't have a problem with you having sex before marriage.
Yeah.
And that's I don't think anything can get any clearer than that.
Yeah, but that's about it.
Okay, so out of curiosity, so when did you guys first hear about sex? Was it like through peers, or was it through sex ed at school, or how do you guys even come? Oh, okay. Oh no,
Somebody's blushing. I think yeah, I think but on that though, you kind of get exposed to, like, even the video amar zamana like the video like cassette tape ones, and it ran gonna place mother blue film mother dire like, and you would be like, what are they sneaking in this?
Have you heard of that
No.
term, Borsha?
Oh my
Borsha hasn't heard of a lot of Nepali terms.
No, I have
Oh
not.
my god.
You don't know what blue flame is?
No.
And then but I honestly, I can't put a number to my, like, I can't put a number of when I was exposed to all this, but I guess I mean, until 16, I still believed all Nepali girls were virgin. Yeah, like that was how naive I was in Sunny until I found out that it wasn't the case. But I think it's we're exposed to it in some way or another. I think no matter how protective our parents are about it, I mean, all of the internet are there's internet. And I'm like, not to shame my nephew, but at 13-year-old, he's already watching probably porn out there.
But that it's fine though. He's like oily. Like I think I got exposed to sex, the whole situation when I was in school, like the sex education, and this is back in Nepal, right? And then when we were in like a class 8 or something, my friend had. This is a Katie Sathi, and then she had porn. And then we watched it to see what it was like. So I was exposed to it very young. Like I was probably 13, 14-ish. And I was disgusted. I was like, what the hell is that?
It's like, ew, what is she
it was
doing?
just like,
is
what is that? There was like no pleasure out of it. It was just like, what the fuck am I watching?
Okay. So last final question. I think we already know the answer to this. Would you want to give the talk to your children in future? And if so, how? At what age and so on?
Oh my God, definitely. I would definitely be. I want to be one of those parents that you can be friends with and you can approach. No matter how big your mistake is, I think our parents will always find it in their heart to forgive them.
Yeah.
And as a mom, I think I would want my children to come to me no matter whether they have murdered a person or they have like broken something. I would want to come to them and ask for my advice and guide. And I want them to feel comfortable doing that. I want to be an approachable person. I don't want to be I don't want to be would be should be but I don't know how I'll react it here. But I want to be as non-judgmental as I can be, because at the end of the day, their journey in life is like I've learned so many things doing mistakes or going through the right pathway in my life, and they we have to let them go through their journey as well. And I mean, हाम्रो जमानामा भएन, but I would want them to have a very liberal life where it's like free of judgments, and no matter what you do, I would want them that opportunity to come to me and
be open about it.
Be open about it, talk about it, discuss about it, get advice about
Healthy
it, and
discussion.
probably rectify their mistakes if they it's up to them.
I definitely would want to. Obviously, I think my mom was quite liberal at her day and age, so I'd definitely want to pick up to that and give them freedom that I have, and obviously let them learn their own mistakes, like you said, and rectify like exactly what you said. That I feel like I'm gonna be that overprotective mom, and not like taking tests or whatnot. That I'd be like to my cousins as well, because they're quite young early, and I'm telling them like, oh, you've got boyfriends now, it's cool, just be safe. And I'm thinking like, well, if I'm like that to my cousins, what I'm gonna be like to my children. And obviously they come to me if they have problems as well than to my sister, because obviously they feel comfortable. So I feel like I would be that parent, like overly protective, but given to it, you can come talk to me.
And to add to that, I would start talking to them about sex quite young, because
you don't want to just jump in there.
I want to make that conversation as normal as it should be. I don't want it to be a taboo subject. Plus I want them to spot signs of child sexual abuse. I want them to learn about consent early on, what's wrong, what's right, and not only to my daughters but also to my son, because I have to put responsibility to both of them. Not only my daughters, like, oh, you should be being extra cautious on that, but I want to ask, like, I want them to be equally responsible for it, because it should be equally responsible.
Ani, going on to that, Didi, as well, I think it's so much better to have basically to teach them rather than them hearing from their peers who probably doesn't even know gay. Like, imagine kids saying all this shit that they hear from other kids, and your child is both up learning all this stuff and saying that doesn't even make sense.
I mean, hearing his reasoning, I feel like he's just never had the opportunity to learn about from very open-minded girls, and I think he probably lacked the opportunity around him to learn about us and women. I mean, I would take it as that, to say it in a positive way. I mean, bye if you're listening to this.
This is the pie earlier we're talking about.
Yeah, take this as a learning opportunity. And then if you want to talk about it, you know, we're always around. Barsha is always around you. I just hope you take it as a learning experience. And like, as
I think he's gonna come back like 5 years along the line, or even after this podcast, hopefully. He's gonna have different opinions in it, because obviously you are shaped by the surroundings around you, and that your mind is exactly the same. Not even like Tony delicate, like it's easier to shape your mind than anything else. So he's probably gonna come back in 5 years time thinking, oh wow, this was me, now look at me now. 2.0.
And although we shaded you a little bit earlier on, don't take it to your heart, because at some point we were naive like you as well. If I'm giving you the benefit of doubt, but I hope you take this as a learning opportunity and learning experience. I mean, if you want to think the same 5 years down the line, then that's your choice. Just don't put your choice on somebody else or your partner.
And it's for the listeners as well. Like, some people might be tuning in thinking like, oh, what can you like a podcast but curious by the answer. So having a two different like views on it, it's just
Imagine he's never listening. He just shut down. He's like, nah. Nah, I'm joking.
Not ready for the second round.
I'll make him listen to the end.
But I think like not just to him, but like anyone else out there, like especially guys, you know, like I do think that they have a very hard time like talking about these things, like even with their guy friends. Maybe like I don't think they ever talk about these kind of things among them as much as girls do. Like we find it a lot easier talking about these kind of things with each other than
I think most conversation are more about
body count,
body count, or probably like more about pleasure and all that. And I guess their conversation might not be as serious as us girls have. I think their conversation will probably be a different type.
I think like us women, we are very like emotionally attached kage person, and so we have like a lot of emotions playing, and we're like, oh my god, is this, rather than like the old shebang thing. Whereas to them it's just like, oh, I banged her, and then this happened, and then mazayo kind of thing.
High five.
High five. No, another one.
Yeah, there are girls out there who have similar attitude to boys,
definitely.
But I mean, I think I would say majority of women have like more emotional attachment to their sexual partner than
something I just remembered. I think going after the Amr podcast, see this specific guy, he was saying to me, why is it not important for girls? Why is it that girls, I'd say, it doesn't matter whether the person's a virgin or not? And we actually had this conversation as well. Maybe for girls, because we're emotional, we kind of... Wait, what? What am I saying? Hold on, I'm getting confused. Yeah, but you get what I mean, right? Like, whether guys are not as emotional, they're kind of like physically mate.
I think because, as well, let's say, there's already so much expectation put on us that this is the least of our worry.
It's like something that
get done
crosses our mind.
Least of our worry. Plus, I guess, like, I think for some women, it's like the acceptance that men are always gonna get away with multiple partners. And I think it's just that, which is sad. But at the same time, I think for us, I think I'm quite glad that we have the privilege of choosing to say that I don't mind if my boyfriend or my husband or my partner is not a virgin. And I am happy with it.
I think Mina Didi has concluded that nicely. I think speaking for the women in general, I think that probably is what everyone would agree with, that we don't really care if our partner is or is not virgin.
It really what you said just really got me thinking, like me texting on my group chat, okay, like, oi, please virgin oil. Yeah. This
reflect.
is weird. It's like, that's weird.
I mean, I want my man to have more qualities other than being a virgin. Like, him being a virgin and not being a virgin doesn't define his character and his behavior towards me, which is more important.
Or not just you, like to other women as well. Like, he could be nice to you, but then if he's not respecting any other woman, that's a no-no for me, because like, you just can't be good to the person you love. You got to be good to everyone.
Of course.
Yes, so we're I guess we should wrap this up. It's been a long and very interesting episode. Hopefully all the listeners out there enjoyed this session as well. And let us know what your thoughts are. And then it's going to be completely different from the previous episode, just like our answers and our discussions. So let us know what your thoughts are.
Yep, and I just want to give a gentle reminder once again that we respect each and everyone's views, and we did not come here to slander anyone. So
Sorry.
always
we
leaving
all
on
have our
a
bitch
positive
moments.
note. And thank you to Mina, Didi, and Merisha who came and joined us on this discussion today. It has been lovely. Hope our listeners learned a few things as well. Our little history session.
I know I did.
Kumaris. So yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.